Hey, everybody, welcome back to Liberty Warrior Nation and LWN Network. It is good to see you this Wednesday evening, January 7th, 2026. It's been one heck of a day. That's why we decided to do a show tonight. And we are excited to be here like we are each and every time to talk with you guys about this Putin seizing a ship near Venezuela, which they said at the beginning he seized the ship, but then it ended up being where he didn't seize the ship. So it's kind of chaotic and it's kind of crazy. Then it was a ghost ship, and we're not really sure what kind of ship, but we've got Jeff B here to help straighten it all out for us as well. LW's in the background, and you know what? He cut me off mid-sentence. I was having a conversation with Jeff B, and he just cut me right off and kicked me out of the stage. So these two need to be railed in tonight, everybody. So we hope you have a lot of good comments, a lot of good questions for LW, Jeff B, and myself. And we're going to also cover what happened in Minneapolis today because we know the spin that the left is trying to put on it. We've got some video. We've got what Tim Waltz had to say with what happened with that incident with ICE. It has been nothing but chaos out there in Minneapolis, Minnesota today. And we were talking about that last night with Kristi Noem and they're sending ICE in, and we had that incident today. So buckle up, everybody. We are on fire tonight. Can't wait to talk to you guys and share all this information and see what you guys have to say about it all. We'll be right back with Jeff B and LW right after this.
All right, welcome back to LWN Network tonight. It's 3 in a row this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We do have Jeff B on board with us. Excited for some of the information that we're going to share tonight. Of course, one of the big stories for me was the Venezuela ship that was seized, not seized. Hell, I don't know. It changed so many different Jeff and Tammy talking back and forth while I was working. I seen Putin had stepped in, and then I don't know. We're gonna get to the bottom of it with Jeff B and Tammy. So excited for that. Tammy, before we get too far here, I would also like to say thank you for those late coffees last night as we were going out. We did reach our goal. So breaking news, we did reach our goal. As soon as those funds hit my account, I will reach out to Miles Franklin and we will order the silver as promised, and it will be ready for our quarterly giveaway at the end of March. So stay tuned for that. I've got a new goal set now for this barbecuer. We just announced last night that we're going to be giving away the grand prize at the end of this quarter is going to be a Z grill, a pellet Bluetooth Z grill. I think you guys will absolutely love it. I've been using it now for a couple of years. You can't go wrong. And so that was also announced last night. And of course, we're supporting tonight. I'm supporting Texas. Here is the Texas Longhorn.
That is an amazing t-shirt. Yes, wonderful. And I love the white. That's a good texture white and color of white. It's not thin and see-through. It looks like a great white. So good job, Jeff B.
And they're soft. Yeah, they're soft. I love the material. They're soft and it fits me well. It's not like the cardboardy ones that I bought in the past. So Jeff and his team have done an excellent job on making these shirts for us. And I'm going to buy my family shirts too. They don't know it yet. I see my mom in chat. Good to see you, Mom. But yeah, they're all getting t-shirts too. So just looking forward to more merchandise because we got something else that Jeff's working on. We'll break that to you guys as soon as we can actually show you something. So yeah. Tammy, let's say thank you to the coffees that were bought late last night.
Yes. And first, too, yes, the coffees. White Devil did buy us 3 coffees last night, and he said Q at the end of the shit show, which that's when we were drawing the Q. So he was messing around. Thank you so much for those coffees. David Cowboy bought us 3 coffees as well. And then Patty J bought us 1 coffee and said, go get that silver. And that's exactly what LW just said he's going to do, Patty J. So thank you all for those donations. And I want to show off my shirt because this is an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah,
and this is one of my favorite shirts that I actually wore in Missouri. And it's actually got LW on it with the train tracks looking down, holding the flag. And then it's got his LW there. I love this shirt. And I do believe that's in the store as well, because we put some of the older stuff in as far as that logo. And it's one of my favorites. I thought it was very classic. So I'm wearing an oldie but a goodie, and I still fit into it. So I'm happy about that.
Well, Jeff, today was a busy day. I also wore my dirty hands clean money because I got a lot of shit done today. We bought a shop, and I have to tear it down, completely tear it down, and ship it to our property and rebuild it. So dirty hands, clean money for the last couple of days, just working my ass off. I'm tired, but I'm excited for this conversation tonight. I'm super excited to see comments. A lot of you have been commenting even when you're watching the replay. I'm trying to get to all of those. If I don't, I will. I try to like them and love them. I don't care what the comment is. They can be something completely different than what most of us are thinking or believing or our perspectives. So don't be afraid to drop a comment. We try to keep up with the comments in chat too. Sometimes they go by really fast. We try to put as many of them as we can on screen so that everybody can see them watching, especially later in the show when we're not live. It's nice to be able to see some of those comments. So don't be afraid to do that. And more importantly, please hit that like button and subscribe to us and share us out on all your platforms, social media platforms, because it really helps us. And hell, Tammy, the one that me, you, and Jeff did on Monday, I just looked at it this afternoon. I think we got close to 7,000 views over there on Rumble for Monday's show. So that's pretty crazy.
That is an incredible number. That's amazing. Wow. So, Jeff B., is your head spinning over all this shipping and stuff that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it earlier in the day. Didn't really look into it too much. But Mike, how excited are you about this new product?
I'm not even kidding. So War Machine, so Jeff asked War Machine, he sent him a template and asked War Machine to come up with a design for the template. War Machine, he's in chat, or he's sending me an email right now. He sent it back today in an email, and I looked at that thing, and I can't even believe how freaking cool it is. So it's going to go on a Tumblr, just so you guys know. And I've been asking Jeff all day, when can I get my hands on this? When is it going to be in the store? Because I freaking want the first one off the assembly line. Like, I want to order it as soon as Jeff tells me, hey, you can order it. I'm ordering this tumbler, probably not just for myself. I'll probably end up getting it for a couple of family members too. It's super cool, to be honest with you. War Machine continues to surprise us in the most amazing ways. Like, just when you didn't think that he could design something to like better the last design he did, he does it every stinking time. He's there in chat. Love you, brother, and thank you so much. He's got, I think, Jeff, we've got somewhere around 20. I'm guessing, I didn't really count, but 20 different state animals that I've approved and are going to go into the store. So if you've been waiting for your state t-shirt to come up, it's coming quick, because War Machine keeps pumping them out, and I really appreciate the hard work.
Yeah, when I sent him over the template, I was actually surprised how quick. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the artistic creative type, and I was pretty much blown away. It is really slick.
Oh, we got some other projects that me, you, and War Machine also talked about doing too, that I think a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised, and they're going to be hot items eventually when they get to the store. So yeah, super excited and excited for tonight. And again, I'm excited to see comments as I ask questions. I can't wait to see what people have to say.
Yeah,
I know. It's always a good time when people are involved in the chat. And like I said, it's a safe place to feel free to say what you want to say. You know, just be kind. It's that simple. Be adult-like, because just spewing out garbage and negativity and just calling people names never gets anybody anywhere. That's what the left does. So having a conversation and points being brought up that we maybe never thought of is always a cool thing. We have great, smart, intelligent people, and I love it. So I guess we get started on this, and what started what pulled the trigger for the whole show today. I ran across a post that the conservative twins did this morning, and it said Russia has deployed a submarine and other naval assets to escort an oil tanker that the U.S. tried to seize near Venezuela. A dramatic escalation in maritime tensions between Moscow and Washington. The vessel, formerly known as Bella 1 and now sailing as the Marinera under the Russian flag, was being pursued by U.S. after attempting to evade a blockade of sanctioned tankers. Russia's move could complicate any U.S. interception and highlights rising geopolitical friction over oil sanctions. So once again, it's the oil being brought up. So they said that they deployed the submarine. They did deploy all of this. But then you come up later and come to find out we intercepted it. Russia did not intercept it and seize it. We have it. So that's what came out later. And it just gets so confusing and stressful as we go through this, though. We'll straighten it out. So before we get into it to talk about it, we should probably play the first video, which is Sky News, the reports of the Russia ship. This is the other thing that came out first thing this morning and got the ball rolling regarding this seizure of this ship.
You ready there, Tammy Joe?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go for it. Oh, sorry. Forgot to hit the... There we go. All right, try her again. What the heck?
Vessel that was under a Russian flag. Well, a senior Russian lawmaker says that the seizure of the Russian flagged oil tanker is outright piracy. That is according to the TASS news agency. So Russia is saying that what America has done, seizing this tanker that was named the Bella 1 under Ghanaian flag and then changed to the Marinera under an adopted Russian flag, the seizure of this tanker is piracy, according to Russia.
So that's it. So I was like thrown aback when I saw that Russia is saying that it was piracy, and we're start talking about these maritime laws and breaking laws. I thought they were on our side. So really, I haven't seen much of Trump, what Trump had to say about that. And, we do have another video about Hedgeseth and Rubio talking about the ships. But my thing is, why would Putin come out and say that? Why would Russia come out and say that?
Jeff?
Well, so my understanding is when they realized that they were being followed or detected, that they actually changed the flag of the ship from a Venezuela to Russian, which kind of gives you, eerie reminiscence of the movie Clear and Present Danger when they did that. Now, I've seen the unclassified video of the military, Coast Guard, and another group that boarded the vessel or intercepted the vessel. And it was really kind of hard to see the hull line. And in that previous picture, the part that's black, anything below that black is called the hull line. And so I didn't know if that photo, the one I seen, if it was a present day out to sea photo. And if it is, that thing is empty. So now the video, the unclassified video that I seen, you still could see under the water line. So to me, that kind of tells me that the water displacement isn't all that all that much. So either it wasn't fully loaded, wasn't loaded, or it was fully loaded, but something other than like crude or some liquid that would have more mass.
Do you want to respond to Travis's question here, Jeff, at the screen? It says, do you think Cuba will collapse now that Venezuela is toast?
Yeah, I think we're going to go into Cuba.
We're going to go into Cuba?
I believe so. Well, I mean, technically, we're already in there at Guantanamo Bay. but just I believe we're behind the Iranian Revolution, and if Diaz keeps running his suck in Colombia, we may be going in there. But Marco Rubio at that dinner, he basically come out and said Cuba and Colombia are next,
Mm-hmm.
as
Yes.
he was singing the Pitbull song Fireball.
Yeah, and Lindsey Graham said the same thing just
Right.
days ago. So, as far as Russia getting involved, I've always been concerned about what may or may not happen. And is this a posturing thing? Is Putin just kind of flapping his gums and posturing over this stuff, or is this more like, is he getting tired of America putting their nose where maybe it don't belong? I know a lot of people believe that. A lot of Americans believe that. I know a lot of different countries believe that we're always doing things and getting meddling into things that a lot of people feel like we shouldn't. And I don't think that we should be a world police for any reason. I don't think we should be policing the world. And so for Marco Rubio to say that, for Lindsey Graham to call that out, standing right next to Donald Trump on Air Force One, I just find that odd. I find it concerning. And for them to make the comment that we're going to go into Cuba, we're going to go into this country next, like, holy shit, man. Are we getting involved in a world event? We can say World War III. A lot of people think World War III has already started. What does China think about this? Where's China stand on this thing? It's just, remember Ukraine, they were pissed off about Ukraine and they were sending support to Ukraine, and then Venezuela happened and Russia and China were sending Venezuela support, even though it didn't matter. I mean, Venezuela is nothing, right? So are we fighting over oil? I don't know. It's just it's troubling to me, and I definitely am prepared for the worst at all times.
Well, it seems like every day there's something new that changes and happens. Like this wasn't in the bingo card, as Jeff B says, 2026 bingo card fail, which is his name tonight. But the White House came out and said that the seizure of the Russian flag tanker was a Venezuelan shadow fleet vessel that was deemed stateless after flying a false flag. Well, we've heard the false flag thing before, but I think that's very interesting. What does that even mean, that it was a Venezuelan shadow fleet vessel? Jeff, what does that mean?
So they call them ghost ships. Basically, they possibly are flying under another nation's flag. They are off the books, off the registry, and so I find it extremely interesting that I haven't seen the video yet, but I was told that the classified, well, it's what wasn't really classified, it was unclassified, um, where they changed the flag from a Venezuela to a Russian flagship and the name change. So I'm not sure on doing name changes at sea. I in common sense you wouldn't think that would happen, but anything can be done. Um, but to me, it seems like somebody is trying to provoke something between Russia and the United States.
Well, that makes sense because they say that it was a Russian flagged, Iranian linked oil tanker that was heading towards northern Russia from the Caribbean, fleeing from the Caribbean, going through the U.S. blockade. So, and if we're saying there wasn't oil because of lines and stuff, and people in chat are saying we don't think there was oil on it, was it just a dummy thing where, like you said, they're just trying to incite some issues and problems over oil between Iran and Russia and us and everything else? It's just kind of scary because this is like out of a lot of people's wheelhouses. We only have to go by what they report to us, and that is shady, at least at best, I should say.
Well, and not only that ship, but there was another ship that was being tracked and boarded by the United States. There was one coming from Greenland heading south. And then you had the one from the Caribbean. So there were two of them. Um, the one coming, I believe the one coming from Greenland, it changed his flag as well, but that hasn't been reported yet. Um, and to Mike's concern, I can sum this all up with two words: Monroe Doctrine. Because when Trump changed the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, everybody thought he was crazy. And what I think you're seeing with you know um China being given so much of Venezuelan oil as part of some deal, and then you go through and you read the Monroe Doctrine, it talks about hemisphere, how everything's divided up into the hemispheres. And to me, it kind of like sounds China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, United States, and the Americas. And
Wow.
Trump has said this two or three times about the Monroe Doctrine. And what are most of the wars fought over? Resources.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if there is let's say a global alliance on, four pillars of the hemispheres and resource sharing, then most of our wars would be stopped.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question to chat. Everybody watching live tonight, you can go ahead and comment now. If you pick us up later, go ahead and drop us a comment, and I'll try to get to it when I have time. What do you think's going on with Putin and Venezuela and this oil tanker? Was there any oil on the tanker? Is it posturing? I'd like to see your guys' comments there in chat. I've seen a couple of them already tonight. But go ahead and put your perspective in there. What you think is going on? It doesn't mean I agree with it. Doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean you're right. But I find it very interesting. Are you concerned with Russia getting involved in this now? Because first it was just America. We went into Venezuela. We abducted the president of Venezuela. We got him in custody now. So what is the meaning of Putin? Why is he now getting involved? Is it because the world is concerned about America, and so he's got to posture and step up and say, hey, we disagree with this? Now, maritime law, we've learned about that and the changes in maritime law. So would just like to see your comments there in chat, or if you're watching us later, go ahead and drop your comment.
Well, I think now's too is a good time to play the next video, because it talks about it's Pedsteth and Marco Rubio talking about the ships and what's really going on. Because before people get all excited or worked up and say what we're doing isn't right and this wartime stuff going on, they kind of explain, listen, this is the policy and this is why we're doing what we're doing. So I think that's a good time to play that.
Okay, I got it ready. So let me just share screen and we'll get to it, Tammy.
House was briefed on a classified level is something only the United States of America can accomplish. The world is taking notice of that. Certainly Venezuela is taking notice of that. And it continues because two oil tankers, overnight, were seized by the United States of America, stateless or sanctioned, because the oil blockade, the quarantine of oil out of unsanctioned or sanctioned or stateless vessels continues. That leverage will continue, as Secretary Rubio outlined. So our military is prepared to continue this. As he said, the president, when he speaks, he means it. He's not messing around. We are an administration of action to advance our interests, and that is on full display. We're happy to brief the House and Senate.
No. Two quick things. Okay, number one, because we have to go because we got to brief the House, and if we don't and they're pissed at us, you guys better defend us. That was one more point. It's a very interesting point. One of those ships that was seized that had oil in the Caribbean, you know what the interim authorities are asking for in Venezuela? They want that oil that was seized to be part of this deal. They understand that the only way they can move oil and generate revenue and not have economic collapse is if they cooperate and work with the United States, and that's what we see are going to happen.
The Senate just was briefed on, and the House.
Yeah, so that's what they're saying. They're saying it's about the oil, and then even United We Stand is saying that ship was not loaded with oil. Jeff said it probably wasn't loaded with oil. So my thing is, what the hell is really going on with all of this? You know, I heard that Trump also posted, I'm trying to find it here. He said that I've just been informed that Venezuela is going to be purchasing only American-made products with the money they receive from our new oil deal. So apparently there's an oil deal that was made. He said these purchases will include, among other things, American agricultural products and American-made medicines, medical devices, and equipment to improve Venezuela's electric grid and energy facilities. In other words, Venezuela is committing to doing business with the United States of America as their principal partner, a wise choice and a very good thing for the people of Venezuela and the United States. So there's that. So he's saying it's about oil, and there's a deal there made as well.
Jeff?
Well, yeah, I think this simply goes back to the Monroe Doctrine. Um, you know, you purchase stuff out of your hemisphere, and, if you need exchange in minerals, you do it with, kind of like a consent of under the Monroe Doctrine. And I believe this was part of Trump's world tour went during his first term when he went and met all these world leaders, and shook them down and showed them the goods on what we have on these different countries. And, we all thought it was going to play out quicker than it had. But as we can see after the first of the year, a lot of stuff is shaken out.
Yeah, I mean, we aren't even through the first week barely of the new year. But then weren't we supposed to be going in last night or the night before to get the VP or something like that of Venezuela? Like, who's he making the deal with? Even though he said we have a deal, Venezuela is working with us, who does he mean is working with us? Because I thought we were pulling people out of there and there wasn't anybody that was in control anymore, per se.
Well, you have to remember, though, Trump said we are going to be controlling Venezuela temporarily.
So he's actually working with himself.
With himself.
Yeah. Okay, not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. Oh, my gosh. Well, I got to say thanks to Tammy Jackson. She said, thank you. She bought us 3 coffees today. So thank you very much for that, Tammy Jackson. We appreciate it.
Well, it wasn't 3 coffees. It was actually through Cash App. But so we did reach our goal last night for the silver coins. So I just started a new goal, which is the Z Grill. So Tammy Jackson's $15 is the first to that goal. And
Nice.
I got to probably set the price for that, but it doesn't matter. We're started on the road to the Z Grill. So thank you for that, Tammy Jackson. Much appreciated. Here's a question that Awaken put up there, and I put it on screen. Now Trump has ordered the military to dispose of several different boats hauling narcotics into America. Could this ship have anything to do with drugs? Because if it's not loaded with oil, which I believe John Estabrooks, he was in the oil field like I was, but a lot longer than me, and he knows a lot more than I do about the oil field. So if it wasn't loaded with oil, could it have been narcotics? Could it have been drugs that they were bringing in, and that's why we seized the ship? And if so, why would Putin give a shit about that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you have to look at where the ship's in the water in reference to the water line. So if you're able to pull up the file picture that we first had up, I can kind of explain it to you.
Okay, let me see. Let me see what I can find. That was on the Sky News, I think.
I no, the still photo.
The still photo. All right, let me see what I can find while you're talking,
Okay.
Jeff.
So in the still photo, you'll see where the water, everything above the water line is what's painted black. Everything below the black is underneath the water. That's why they call it the water line. And when a ship is fully loaded or whatever, you don't see all that much, if any, of the water line, which is the non-painted portion of the ship. Like, let's say, in reference to a Navy aircraft carrier, when they bring the carriers in and out of port, they are not loaded because they want that water line to be up so the hull of the boat doesn't scrape the bottom of the drink. Well, in this photo right here, you can tell that that boat isn't loaded because you have all that water line exposed.
Oh,
So in order for, because they would call that water displacement. That's how they're able to tell how much that boat weighs based on water displacement. So we would have to see what actually the ship looked like during the interception of it. And if you would see that much water line, that joker's empty. Or it's filled to the brim with something extremely light.
well, that makes sense. That
Like
makes a lot of
weapons,
sense.
like Awakened,
Yeah,
like
you
weapons. I mean,
weapons
if you were to go to war, if you were to start World War III or be part of it, could they be hauling weapons?
could be hauling weapons, could be hauling, people,
But I mean, they were
any.
heading to Russia, like Putin was trying to intercept it. That is not a good sign. That's not good.
Well, I mean, was it they intercept? Where did they intercepted it in the Caribbean? Correct.
Well, they were trying to intercept it, but their submarine and their Navy, they didn't get there in time. So the U.S. kept it and the U.S. boarded it. But the early reports were that Russia had it, but it wasn't. That wasn't true.
Well,
Apparently.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Could it just be a photo that they picked out of anywhere? I mean, is that a possibility? Like, this may not be the ship that they took. Like, this could just be one that they pulled out of any file. Like when I do thumbnails, I'll go on Google and I'll type in shipping container ship and I'll just choose one. And could it be that the news chose something like this?
Oh no, that's definitely. I'm guessing that's definitely a file photo.
Yeah.
That's why I'd say I'd have to see. I said when you showed the unclassified, I think you guys showed the unclassified version of it. You could see what looked like to me part of the water line. But the classified, I was told, was definitely more revealing. So just by looking at the video that they're saying is the unclassified portion by Southern Command, it wasn't fully loaded. Now,
Wow.
now with the Russian vessels, I was seeing all over, people who break all this breaking news and everything that, there was Russian submarines tracking certain vessels. Well, number one, no shit, Dick Tracy. We track vessels with our submarines, and so does everybody else have submarines. Two, no one's going to know where those submarines are at. And 90% of the time, and this is just based off being on, U.S. submarine or sub combatants, most of the crew doesn't know where they're at. Very few members of the crew actually know where that boat is physically at. So if you're listening to broadcasts saying, "Oh, we know that X, Y, and Z country is following this ship," you can go ahead and raise the bullshit flag on that. Because if there's one way you can tell is if you see a bunch of P8s flying around in the middle of the drink with their transponders on, they're laying down sono buoys to find out exactly what boat is in the drink.
I like Rosemary's comment. Is the ship a distraction? I mean, they use distractions all the time to keep us looking over here while they're doing something else. And Tammy reports all the time that Congress ain't doing shit. So are they distracting us with all this stuff because they're trying to push something through that we're not paying attention to? Is that a possibility?
That's not to cut you off, but this is breaking right now that General Mike Flynn posted, and he said about Iran. Russian media outlets are now reporting that the fall of the Islamist regime in
Yes.
Iran and the return of the country's exiled Shah, His Imperial Majesty Reza Pahlavi, is now on the horizon and within reach amid the 11th day of the nationwide pro-Shah uprising. Flynn says, for the uninformed, this is as big a tectonic geopolitical shift as we've experienced in decades. Pray for the people of Iran and their struggle for freedom.
Jeff, please enlighten us on what Tammy is just now breaking for us.
Okay, so about 2 hours ago, Rusia 24, one of their correspondents inside of Tehran, there was a video, or not a video, I'm sorry, there was an interview done with the Shah's grandson earlier in the day. And basically, he told the people of Iran, you can protest peacefully. Don't, basically damage our home. Don't damage our people. There's a new dawn on our horizon. And some of the mullahs were ordering the IRGC to start arresting the people in Iran, mostly Tehran, some of your more IRGC controlled cities, and then the Shah come back out on IRNN, which is kind of like our version of CNN, and told the IRGC that the days are numbered of the for the mullahs. So and to me, this is part of the Monroe Doctrine. Everyone's getting their houses in order. It's the way I see it. Now, it may not be true. This may just all be turmoil throughout the world. But why would Trump come out and constantly talking about the Monroe Doctrine? And the funny thing, I don't know if it's stupidity or if it's lack of our educational system. Now, I remember when I was in grade school and you did social studies, you learned about the Monroe Doctrine. And one of the reporters was asking, and I forget her name, it slips my tongue, but she was in the George W. Bush administration. And the CNN reporter had asked her, well, can you name a time in history and they were talking about Greenland, where the United States purchased or, threatened for a purchase of land. And she looked at him like, I know this isn't a serious question. And she started naming off the Louisiana Purchase, Alaska, California. And the guy was like, oh, okay, on to the next subject. And it was just dumbfounding.
Wow.
I want to ask, hold on a second, just a second, because I'm watching comments. I'm trying to keep up with all your guys' comments, but let me ask you this question, and I'm going to answer it as soon as I get done asking the question. Everybody in here I love all the different opinions. I love how all of us think a different way, because I'd mentioned the other night when I put a quote from General George Patton, that it says, if everybody's thinking exactly the same, then there's somebody not thinking. And I love that quote because I'm a thinker and I think different than everybody in chat. I think different than Tammy. I think different than Jeff. And that's why I think this show is so great, because we can come together with different ideas. We can share ideas. So here's my question to chat. Is there anybody listening live tonight? And you can even drop me a comment if you're watching this later. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow us, share us out. Is there anybody live tonight in chat that is concerned about something sparking World War III? Whether it be Putin, whether it be China coming into Taiwan, we talk about this stuff all the time, whether it be Cuba, Ukraine, like, is anybody concerned that America will be drug into another, not just conflict, but a world war? Me personally, I'm always concerned about it. I'm always paying attention to what the world stage is doing, what world leaders are saying and doing, what Trump is doing, and how he responds to that. And I think he does a fabulous job responding. But there's always a concern for me. I'm always concerned about that. And I'm always, because I'm a man and I want to protect my family and keep them safe. So that's a really big deal for me, and it's a concern for me. So when I have somebody that I dislike, like Lindsey Graham, piping off with his pie hole there, saying, "Oh yeah, next is Cuba, next is this country, next is that country," I don't respect the guy. I can't stand him. I cannot believe he's still in office. Him, Mitch McConnell, like, those are part of the rhinos that I wish we could get voted out, and maybe we will this next election if they're up for re-election. I really hope that we can get rid of them. Warmongers and war hawks, and these are the guys that wanted to go into Iraq and Iran and all the other places. So yeah, I'm always concerned, and I'm always paying attention. I will ask both my co-hosts the same question. Are either one of you, Tammy or Jeff, ever concerned about something kicking off and we end up going into a World War III scenario?
Well, I think I'll start because Jeff obviously has the military experience and all that behind him. But I will say that, yeah, I do have concerns about that because of all the discord that's going on, because of the presidential administration with Trump shaking everything up and putting us first. And it is taking money out of the pockets of everybody that sucked off us forever. So are they going to go down lightly? No. Some are making deals, which it's great to see. He talks about stopping 7 or 8 wars. That's amazing. But now we seem to be getting in the big leagues here with the bigger countries and bigger things going on that really seem that they will affect us. Now, President Trump, we were bringing up Colombia. President Trump did talk with the president of Colombia, and he said he called him, or the president, Gustave Petro is his name, called to explain the situation of drugs and other disagreements that we have had. He said, I appreciated his call and tone, and they're going to meet in the near future at the White House is what they're going to do. He didn't give a date, but I like that even though we have concerns that Trump is still standing strong and meeting with these leaders and trying to make peace before war. But I do have concerns.
Jeff?
Well, I think we already won World War III. World War III was fought in 2016 and in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in World War IV in a kinetic operation that, it's the pillars of the world leaders that when Trump first come into office in 2016 or 2017, he met with, and everybody was so curious on, the red folder. You remember the red folders that were going around where, Trump would show up with a red folder,
Yes.
and then a week later, Putin had a red folder. And, I was looking because so many people were talking about how Maduro's photos were AI'd, right? And all the different costume changes. So I went and I did a Google image search for Nicolas Maduro over the last 8 years. And I'll be damned if I didn't see a photo on Google of Hugo, or not Hugo Chavez, uh, Nicolas Maduro standing in front of his parliament or whatever he has in Venezuela, and that guy had a red folder. So what the hell is in these red folders?
The goods
Maybe
on everybody.
maybe gift certificates to our merchandise.
It very well could be.
I mean, you would think it would have to be like we have the goods on you. It gives them some examples, either make a deal or you're going down. That's the only thing that to me makes sense that would have power to have these people make major changes with what they've been doing all along.
Okay, so let me ask this question then, because it's kind of a mixed field out there. There are some people that think yes, it's a possibility that we go into World War III. Some of them say we've already done it, like Jeff. Some of them say it's part of the plan, or it's a movie, or everybody has a right to their own opinion. So for the ones that are concerned like me about a possible ignition, or we get drug into something, my question to you is what is the event that gets us there? Like what's the event in your opinion? Is it China coming into Taiwan? Is it the Ukraine Russia conflict? Is it Cuba? Is it Venezuela? What, in your opinion, if you are concerned about us getting drawn into a world war, would get us there? For me, I never really worried about Ukraine. I think Ukraine's just a bunch of BS, to be honest with you. For me, I believe it would be China coming into Taiwan. I think that, to me, is the most concerning thing for me personally. And I think that if China came into Taiwan, I believe Trump would do something about it. Do you believe that Trump would do something about China coming into Taiwan to either one of my co-hosts?
Yeah, I don't think Trump's playing. I don't think Trump's going to mess around with anybody or anything. He's not putting up with it. He said he's not putting up with it. There's rules to follow. There's negotiations to be done. If you break the negotiations or you don't want to come to the table, that's it. He keeps saying how strong our military is. And he actually said, it came out in the Truth Social post today and said, in the troubling times that we live in, I'm upping the military budget. It was like, he did it by like 500 million extra or something. He said that we have to boost the budget up. We have to make sure that we can stand against whatever may come at us. And I found that kind of troubling. I mean, glad he's thinking about that, but kind of troubling where, he wants peace. And apparently he's not thinking there's going to be peace if he's got to up the budget.
Yeah, I don't think Trump or us should be. I mean, is it possible China takes Taiwan? Anything's possible. But you remember how Trump was sending pictures of people's houses to him prior, when they got out of line? Well, I think this round in this administration, I think what Trump is doing is he's sending pictures of some of the most advanced military weaponry that no one has seen yet. Kind of like, oh, I don't know, the video that was filmed in Venezuela that the guy had from his balcony, where you seen a fighter jet, and then all of a sudden all these drones popped out of this fighter jet.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, that's wild. That would do it.
My biggest concern right now, and what I think we're coming into is part of World War IV. I don't think we have to worry about any bad invasions per se. I think we're waiting on the constitutional crisis. And the constitutional crisis, we're already seeing preludes to it. You're seeing Tim Walz saying he's not running again. You have Ilhan Omar about ready to get buried. You have the issues that I know Tammy's going to talk about with the Speaker of the House. You know, remember, Mike Flynn said, in case of an emergency, break this glass.
Mhm.
So I think we're on the verge of our constitutional crisis.
Okay, so if we go into that, all right, and then Trump has all the power, he can do whatever he wants to do, the military steps in. But does that doesn't protect us from anything in the outside world coming at us? You know what I mean?
Well, it does when you send them pictures of what you can do. It makes them think twice.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree with that, Jeff. I
That's-
do agree with
that's-
that. I think you have to, especially in the world we live in today, you have to posture somewhat and show a force. I mean, think about Russia. We've seen their parades. China, we've seen their parades. Little Rocket Man, we've seen their parades. Trump just did a parade last year, show of force, right? They show the size. Well, they don't show the whole size of the military, but they show force of military. And then I'm in the same camp with Jeff as far as our technology. I'm concerned about China's technology because I think they are super advanced as well. And Tammy's brought that up multiple times. But I also know that as America, we have technology that we're not sharing with people either. And that's what I love about Trump. Now, dipshit Obama and dipshit, well, I think it was just Obama. Always projecting and telling the enemy what we're going to do next. Remember back in the Obama years, he would sit there and say stupid shit like, hey, want to let you know, like next Friday, I'm sending in the military and we're going to hit this zone right here. Like he was always telling everyone what the hell we were going to do.
Mhm.
And I love Donald Trump because Donald Trump don't tell anybody shit other than, hey, FAFO. FAFO, we're gonna freaking bomb you and turn that sand into glass. And sure enough, I mean, he delivers on what he says, and I think the world respects him for that, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I can foresee after the whole Maduro nab that maybe Pyongyang gave a call to the White House to make sure that they were still on good terms.
What was his name?
Kim Jong Un, Pyongyang.
Pyongyang,
Yeah, that's the capital of North Korea, Pyongyang, P7A.
and that's little rocket man is Pyongyang.
Yeah, Pyongyang.
That's crazy.
I gotta learn how to speak Korean. That sounds cool. Pyongyang
Pyongyang.
sounds like a dirty game.
Yeah,
Pyongyang.
감사합니다.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, what Jeff says.
Yeah, what Jeff says. Well, that's my concern because I've seen a lot of the Chinese technology with the robotics, AI, drones, et cetera, et cetera. And you would think that a country really wouldn't put on display their, show their hand, let's say, because Trump does keep it close to the vest. However, it is concerning because China does so much, and that's probably not all they got. And I have concerns that we're way behind them. I want to believe that we're not, but that is a big concern of me. That's why I think Trump wants the AI here. That's why he's trying to make all these deals with robotics here and Elon and everything else, because this shit's coming true. It's happening at such a rapid pace. We only know a small section of what they want to show us, but China's been pretty impressive with what they've had. Now, some people even say that's AI, and that's another concern. When you've got AI, you don't know what's real and what's not, and that's kind of the bitch of it all as well.
Well, Tammy, the stuff that you're seeing that's so advanced in China, guess how they got that? Oh, because our politicians and some people within our own government have sold the stuff to them.
Shit.
Well, okay, let me ask you this question, Jeff. It's not just that, but how many stories have we heard and how many stories have we reported on where they send their young people here to America and they go to our colleges and they do espionage and they steal our secrets, our advancement, our technology, our information, and they send it back to China, and that's how they get a lot of our advancements as well. Right, Jeff? Am I correct?
Yeah, and absolutely. And guess what? I'm sure this isn't going to be a newsflash, but we do the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Every country is doing it, but I guess that was for Tammy when she's concerned about the technology advancements of China. I think we're right there with them. Could you at least say that out loud, Jeff, and make her feel a little bit better that we're probably in step with China? Would you say?
No, we're beyond China. And the reason I say we're beyond China is because the material that you're seeing that China has now is the shit that our dirty politicians and some of the defense contractors have illegally sold, like the plans to these foreign governments, which is espionage, treason, sedition, the whole ball of wax. Just think about, I mean, look at one of the new uh because when I was in the Navy and I went on my first boat run, China was not a blue water navy by any stretch of the imagination. The farthest they got out was the Bohai or the Yellow Sea. Now they're kind of a blue water navy, but if you look at some of their vessels, they look like our stuff. Their current stuff looks like our stuff from the 90s. So there is no doubt in my mind that we have stuff that way supersedes them. I mean, you could go back to Aldra James, where he was selling secrets to, um, the Russians. Um, that's how these people get that technology, is people within our government or contractors within our government have sold this stuff, not just to China. I mean, they've done it to Germany, to France. All, I mean, you can just go through and look at all the number of defense contractors and people in the military that have been, charged with treason because of selling, or the charged under the Espionage Act, I should say.
So, now it would seem like it would be harder to do that because of being able to track them compared to back in the day. So my thing is, if people were doing it and you say we're far ahead of China, which is reassuring, but if our people are still selling secrets, how do we know they didn't sell them the good secrets? How do we know that we are farther off than China?
Damn it!
Unless
I thought Tammy was going to be able to sleep tonight and sleep.
I'm trying.
And now she's still worried. Let's talk about the $85 billion worth of equipment that we'd left in America's worst. What do we call that, Jeff? Worst
evacuation
of Afghanistan under the Biden administration. We left $85 billion worth of equipment there. Now I get it. I am in. I've done a lot of logistics in my career as well, especially in the oil field, trying to get material here, guys there, blah 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 blah, and it does cost a lot of money. I'm dealing with logistics right now with my own stuff, trying to move things, and it costs a lot of money. So I understand that maybe we couldn't afford. Well, bullshit. Maybe the best plan wasn't to move all that military assets back to America because it would cost too much. But holy shit, we just left a lot of stuff there. We know that our enemies went through there and grabbed stuff out of the helicopters, the planes, the tanks, and got some of that technology. What Jeff's saying is we're super advanced, and that's all old technology. But hey, I'm not a military guy, but I play dirty. I play to win, and I don't want to give them any technology or any advantage or any knowledge of any shit and thing. And I think that was a bad move on the Biden administration.
Yeah, I believe it was too. Now, granted, I've heard or read reports from the GAO, the Government Accounting Office, that it would have cost more to bring that equipment back than what it was worth. Granted, I just wonder if some of that stuff wasn't blown up and we just don't know it because it was just easier to get rid of it.
Very, very
Well,
possible.
Because we did that during the Gulf War. We were
Okay.
burning APCs and tanks.
Right. But you know what? That looked real. Do we forget about the guys running down the runway as the things were planes
The
and stuff
balloon.
were moving and
Oh,
they're
the balloon
jumping on it
plane.
like
Yeah.
what the
That was a
hell?
balloon plane. Remember
That
that,
was
Jeff?
weird.
Remember that
Yeah,
show
oh-
we did about the balloon plane?
Oh, yeah. And we were
That was
called crazy
ridiculous.
conspiracy nuts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
was unreal.
Yeah. And, you know, I think this is what I think we are in right now, an asymmetrical warfare. Not only, in a sense, World War IV against the American people, because I believe we're being psyoped right now by our own military until the time is right. Because could you imagine everything that has happened just the first year of Trump's term? Could you imagine that on steroids in his first 4 years? And remember, we can go back, and I told people if what I think is coming, people are going to be sitting in the corners rocking back and forth.
That is not cool. Not cool. Yeah.
Well, David Cowboy says nothing is what it seems, and I believe a lot of that for sure.
Well, Trump keeps saying central casting.
Well, not only this,
Says it a lot.
David Cowboy also brought up everyone here about remote viewing. That is a real thing. You can believe
Yes.
it or not, but that military have people that do remote viewing. And then the MK Ultra stuff, it came out the other day that they don't think that it ever stopped. The government did never stop doing that. So, and other governments. So, I mean, you've got all these aspects of the government that we are not so sure that we are clear on, but people are saying didn't stop, and that would seem to make the most sense with some of this stuff. I don't think anything is cut and dry. It's not just equipment, it's planning, and it's years out, because you can't tell me that Trump came in this time and it was just on a whim that he's doing everything the way he did, because a lot of people are bitching that within his first year of this presidency that all these other things take priority of things in America. I know that he had to fix and has to fix a lot of shit out there as far as the world. I get that. It was a mess. But the thing is, people are complaining because it's inside of America first. They're like, this president said it's America first, that he wants peace, that there's no more wars, and all that we seem to have getting in the forefront now is wars and ships and all this that we're talking about tonight. It's like Doge went away, the Epstein files went in, all the stuff that we as people care about are just flown out the door. And I don't know if that's in our best interests or not. You know, obviously Trump's administration knows more than we do when it comes to the worldly threat we have going on, but it's kind of a bummer because he's taken the fall for it, because you know what, it stops at the top. People are not happy with Trump now, and that's unfortunate.
Right. Well, you know, and this is what my response would be to those people. That Trump's getting into all these wars. How many people were killed going into Venezuela? From the time that they breached their airspace till the time they left, how many people were killed? Our military and our government saying zero. I don't call that a war. How many people on these ship boardings have been killed? According to our military and our government, zero. I don't call that a war. I call that, lack of a better word, swinging a big dick.
Well, that's a good valid point as well, Jeff. That's true. You know, he went in and he came out, and that's with Venezuela and stuff, and got the president, and he said that's what we're going to do, and he's not spilling the beans. It's not leaking. I mean, that's the confidence of this administration that we have, and we can't be worse off than we were than with the last administration, other than the corruption. That's the thing, even if the world leaders want to talk and negotiate and all that, what about these drug dealers, these warlords, all these cartels that are across the world? They aren't the ones that are wanting to talk, and there's no negotiating with them. You have to end them, or that's it. You can have friendliness with all the world leaders you want, but then we're going to have to go in and take out all the bad people still. We're still going to have to have action.
There's some comments here that I think we need to address. One of the comments is 80 Venezuelans, right? Were there any Venezuelans that were injured or hurt in this operation of America going in? That I don't know. I can't speak on it. I haven't, well, I don't believe the news anyway, but I haven't seen anything on that. So I don't know. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Very well could be true. Maybe Tammy or Jeff knows something on it. False flag ops. There were people killed. So I don't know. If you guys have any kind of source for that, I would gladly put it. If you drop it there in chat, I'll gladly put it up on the screen so everybody can see it. Jeff or Tammy, to respond to those comments. Do you know of anybody that has been injured or killed because of that operation?
Well, what I meant, and maybe I should have clarified it a little bit better. What I meant was how many Americans? Zero. The people who were running these drug boats, you're victims. You're victims of your own damn circumstance. The Cuban special forces that supposedly were guarding Maduro, you were a victim of your own circumstance.
I agree with that 100%. I agree.
And I don't feel sorry for those people. I mean, you're trying to come into America illegally, and not only that, but you're bringing narcotics. So
they could possibly kill your family members.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't feel sorry for those people. I don't.
Yeah. So yeah, there were some casualties, obviously, but the casualties were the bad people trying. If they weren't doing what they were doing, it wouldn't have happened. We got to stop thinking that we can wave our finger and say to these people, "Stop, do it, don't do it, don't do it," or you're going to get hurt, or you're going to get unalived because we're coming after you, and thinking they're going to believe us, because they don't. Sometimes people. Well, you have to do what we have done to these people, because they have every chance. Trump's tried negotiating with these people. Like I said, some people are they're obstinate. They're not going to give up. They're not going to let it go because they don't want to give up the money. They don't want to give up the power and control. So that's where it gets dirty. But it is a choice they make. It's not like Trump's just going in, getting everybody for no reason. He's warned them. He's talked about the narcotics and the drugs and what it's done to our kids and our society. He's warned them for a long time. They just keep doing it. They laugh at us, and I'm tired of being laughed at. So that's what I voted for. I did vote for him doing what he's doing.
Tammy, are we going to move on to Minnesota? Because we've talked a lot about a couple of these topics, and we're already a little over an hour in.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Minnesota and what happened today. There's a video of Ilhan Omar's statement, but I want to start off with General Flynn talking about Johnson, because once again, here's another guy, Speaker of the House, being tied into this crap, according to Flynn. But he came out and he said there were allegations he made against Speaker Mike Johnson, claiming that the lack of accountability regarding the massive taxpayer fraud in Minnesota is linked to the Speaker's own financial networks. He suggested that his private investigation, this is what Flynn did, into the robbery of the American taxpayers, led him directly to the door of the House leadership. He stated, Flynn, that he began looking into the lack of federal movement on the Minnesota daycare fraud cases. His findings, he claims, point to a circular flow of capital involving Speaker Johnson's PACs, political action committees. Flynn said, I want Speaker Johnson to do more. We started looking into Speaker Johnson's PACs and how many of his PACs turned money back around to daycare and healthcare clinics and that kind of stuff. It's incredible the amounts of money, and that's one person, but he happens to be Speaker of the House. So this is not a partisan thing for me. He's talking about we need to get accountability for this, and that Speaker Mike Johnson, allegedly, according to him, has been getting daycare and healthcare clinic money funneled through his PACs. So that is what he's accusing him of. And that just made me sick to my stomach, because once again, it's another new shithole to drop our heads in with the Speaker of the House if this is true. I don't see Flynn coming out here talking about this and accusing him if it's not true. He said, while the Speaker has recently pushed for healthcare reform, cutting rampant fraud and the Affordable Care Act as a primary concern, Flynn has argued that the Speaker's own financial backyard warrants an audit. So that's the new thing that ties into Minnesota and all that, with the Speaker allegedly involved.
Well, do you want to play this video?
Yes, go ahead and do that. That's the Ilhan Omar. That's her remarks to the incident with ICE and the shooting today. This is when it was first breaking.
Ilhan Omar, of course, who represents Minneapolis. Her district is in Minnesota. She says ICE's actions today were unconscionable and reprehensible. I am beyond outraged at their reckless, callous actions. Reckless, callous actions led to the killing of a legal observer in Minneapolis. My heart breaks for the victim's family, who will have to forever live with the pain caused by the Trump, she writes. Your reaction.
Wow.
Trump administration's right. She goes on to say reckless.
Yeah, I mean, total nonsense, outrageous conduct. And again, these ICE agents were protecting themselves. And if you think about it, if this agent didn't fire on somebody that is using their car as a weapon to law enforcement, they'd be in trouble for not doing their job. Their job is to protect the public. And if people are in danger, life or death danger, they need to take action. And so this agent, most likely, unless something comes out differently than what I've seen, did everything right and protected the public.
And this is a tweet that just came.
So basically, Ilhan Omar is blaming the Trump administration. The mayor, Jacob Fry, who just last month claimed ICE's presence in his city would get people shot, demanded ICE leave the city immediately. He said, get the F out. He said that he's aware of the shooting that happened, and he said the presence of federal immigration enforcement agents is causing chaos in our city. We're demanding ICE leave the city immediately. We stand rock solid with our immigrant and refugee communities. So here it is, elected officials that take the oath to protect their people are actually trying to kick ICE out. They've threatened ICE and say, you need to get out. People are going to get shot. Then this happens. This lady, and what wasn't made clear at first, because they had to investigate, but there's video out there. You can see this lady, there was somebody stuck in the snow. The ICE people and police were trying to help get this person out while this protest was going on. So they were blockading the ICE and the police from helping. And this lady that got shot was face to face with an ICE agent. He was in front. That was the one that shot. But then on the side, other ICE agents came and said, get out of the car, get out of the car. She used her car as a weapon to ram these people and ram at the ICE agent that shot. She had warning and stuff. They left all that out. So that is what happened. And yet these elected officials in Minneapolis are saying they're threatening ICE. And Tim Walz, like Jeff said earlier in the show, came out and said he's going to put out the National Guard. He's ready to. And guess what? Our National Guard is armed. So he's putting out the National Guard to go against ICE, not these people who are protesting, blocking, throwing debris and shit at these ICE agents that are there to clean up the city.
Yeah, and my theory, and it's probably more of a fact than a theory, why Tim Walz is going to deploy the National Guard is because of what the Supreme Court ruled. In their opinion, I think it was a week and a half ago, the Supreme Court said that President Trump had to use conventional U.S. military forces in the city prior to him federalizing a state's National Guard. So that means that if Tim Walz doesn't call up the National Guard and Donald Trump sends in the U.S. Marines, it's going to be game on. I mean, look, I'm sorry that this lady lost her life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for her family. I feel bad for her daughter. I feel bad for her girlfriend. But I don't know if it's our politicians or whoever has gotten a hold of this warped ideology in some of these people that have mental illnesses, that they believe that they can go and they can take a vehicle, or hell, they had the one guy trying to take a cop's taser or gun shortly after this, and he got ransacked. But they're taking advantage of these people with whatever deficiency they have. And Holman
Oh,
and Trump, yeah, and Holman and Trump told him, if you hit or try to hit one of our agents, we are going to hit back.
And she was using the vehicle. There's
The
two
deadly
different videos.
weapon. Correct.
Yes. There were two different videos up. One
Yes.
doesn't show it as well as the other, okay? But Trump did come out and make a statement as well, because he saw the video and he said that it was horrible. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. And that's what they're saying, self-defense. I saw the video. I heard them come from the side and tell her, get out of the car. There were 2 or 3 of them. And then the one in front, she gunned it, and that's when he shot. Okay, so it wasn't like she was trying to stop or get out of her car. She was trying to ram him. So Trump said it's hard to believe that the ICE agent is alive, but he's now recovering in the hospital, that the situation's being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. And that's true, because these representatives have threatened and they've told people to resist these ICE agents. We know that in these sanctuary cities, they're hiding illegals from ICE agents. It's not like they go into some of these cities and it's a safe, good environment for them. They're risking their lives. And I've had it with people that are protesting by blockading, that they're driving a vehicle into the middle of ICE and police trying to help. What is that going to get you? Nothing but trouble. Bad, poor decision. Sorry for her family, and she lost her life. She was a young girl, but it's inexcusable to be driving a vehicle like that in the middle of what was going on. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and I don't take this wrong, but this is fact. I'm sorry that this girl had passed away. The only thing that could have made this worse is if it was a minority, because we'd all be flying to Minneapolis right now with marshmallows, because that whole damn city would be burning.
Yeah. Well, Mom Donnie came out and also had a little statement about this as well. And this is what we're dealing with some of these people. He said, I believe that these raids are cruel and inhumane, and they do nothing to actually serve the interest of the public safety. And what New Yorkers want to see is a city that they are safe in, a city they can also feel comfortable leaving their home in. And so we will continue to make clear that this is a city that stands up for immigrants. And also this is a city that will follow its laws of sanctuary policies, and precisely because these are laws that keep New Yorkers safe. What a bunch of crap is that right there? Sanctuary cities do not keep people safe. We know all about the funding and the corruption and all the shit putting
Kind of
them
like
up.
it's kind of like gun-free zones. Do they keep people safe?
There you go.
Because I'm here to tell you, I'm packing 45 with me at all times, and that's the only way I'm going to stay safe, and that's why I love Idaho. We have constitutional carry here. You never know who's carrying. Sometimes it's on the outside, but 99% of it, it's concealed. You don't know who's packing, and FO, You come into a store, bank, like I've Tammy, I cannot count on two hands how many times I've gone into my local bank here with my sidearm. Nobody knows. Nobody knows I have it. I go into the grocery stores. I go into restaurants. I go everywhere here in this valley with my sidearm. Nobody knows I have it. And by God, somebody comes in and decides that they're going to do something foolish. I'm probably not the only person that's going to react. So sanctuary cities, gun-free zones, what a fucking joke. They do not keep people safe. They actually make you a fucking target, period. That's where they go. They go to gun-free zones because they know that the retards that live there are not going to defend themselves. And so, God bless Idaho. God bless any state out there that's a constitutional carry state. And I think that Trump was working toward a federal deal where all states were going to be constitutional carry. Now, it's going to be a hard one to sell in New York and California, Oregon, Washington. But I believe that if we were all constitutional carry states, that crime would definitely take a downturn, not a significant downturn because there's always idiots out there. But I think people would think twice if they never knew who was actually carrying a sidearm. I think
I agree with you. I agree because it's always the bad guys that keep them. That's why the drug lords and the cartel have control over so many things. They have illegal weapons, right? So it's stupid to think that only the bad guys are going to give up weapons. They're not. It's the good guys following the law and stuff. They want to take it away. The crazies and the bad people will have them. They will always have them. And it's a bunch of crap. And it comes to this. When you know right from wrong, just because you can do something wrong and get away with it doesn't mean you should do it. So a lot of these people, if they really want safe cities and stuff, stay away, let the police and ICE do their jobs and be done with it. You got to tell me these people are happy in these cities that they live in, that all this crime is going on all the time. It's impossible to believe that. I believe there are, and we've known there are paid agitators. And just like when it was the Summer of Love and we found black piles of bricks that were laid out for people to use and tools and weaponry, the thing is there's right and there's wrong. When the police and the ICE are doing what they're doing, you need to back away and get away because all you're doing is adding fuel to the fire. That's it. They were warned they were coming in. If you're good and you have nothing to hide, just stay in the house, mind your own business. If you want to agitate, derail, deflect, cause problems, then you get right in the middle of it and you add to the fuel to the fire. And that's how I feel. I have no sympathy for people who lay in the middle of the road to blockade people from driving through. And don't forget, they weren't showing this a lot. They were throwing snowballs, icicles, all this other stuff at these ICE agents. And you think, oh, that's not a big deal. What's a snowball or whatever? It's a distraction. While they're trying to fend off stuff, they're not paying attention to what they need to do to get the people they need to do because they're always seeing what's going on behind them and stuff. That is a distraction, and that is interfering with a federal duty that they were called there to do. And that's bullshit. These people need to get the heck away. It's just ridiculous to me.
Well, I'm trying to read as many comments as I possibly can. I don't know the full story that Tammy's talking about, but there was a couple of questions that were being asked. For one, I'm not going to go out there and try to impede or stop any ICE agent out there from doing their job. I wouldn't put myself in that situation. So if there's a question out there, if I was in her situation and she was trying to stop an ICE agent, am I going to run people over? The answer is fuck no. But if I am driving in a vehicle and I happen to come across a bunch of dumbasses blocking the interstate or a highway or a road, and I feel my life is threatened, and they passed the law in Florida, I think every state should have this law. If I am in that situation and I feel my life is being threatened because I've seen them catch cars on fire, I've seen them drag people and truck drivers out of the doors and the windows and beat the living shit out of them, you're damn right. I'm gonna I am definitely going to hit the accelerator. And if you're in my fucking way and you're trying to stop me, hurt me, kill me, yeah, I have zero tolerance for that shit. I will run your ass over. And I am always carrying my sidearm, and I will defend myself and my family, period. So
We've gotten too lenient.
I don't know if that was the question, but that's my answer.
We've gotten too lenient with the people who commit crimes or scream that they're victims and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying bad things don't happen to good people. It does. But we've gotten so far. Think about what we're talking about here. We're talking about criminals, illegal immigrants in our country that we are trying to get out. It's not all good people that are coming in. When you come in illegally, you're committing a crime in the first place. We've talked about this before. You bypass every single immigrant who came here legally, did it the right way. Because if you have nothing to hide, you'll do it the right way.
Hold on just a second, Tammy. I'm not a fucking victim, period. I am not going to live like a victim. I don't pretend to be a victim. So you can kiss my white ass with your stupid ass comment. You can get the hell out of here for all I give a shit. The left is the one that plays victim all the time. Poor me, poor me. All the bullshit that comes along with the left. And I am not a victim, but I can guarantee your dumbass this, I'm not going to allow myself to be a victim. So go fuck yourself, period.
Well, I missed what that was about, but that's okay.
Yeah,
And
a stupid ass in chat.
Oh.
And mods, you can just kick that lily ass out of here. They're just here to start problems, but no, I'm not a victim, but I'm not going to become a victim. And that's why I disagree with gun-free zones. That's why I disagree with sanctuary cities. I think they create victims because of their stupid policies and their stupid laws. And that's why I love Idaho, because we're not like that. You fuck around here, you'll find out real quick.
You know, when what happened in the olden days with the bars and fights in the old towns, man, if people screwed up, they boom, boom. I'm not saying it was right, but people knew if they stepped out of line, there's a price to pay. And that's what I'm talking about. We've gotten too soft. The people that claim that they're victims or people that say it's not fair, they're in our country illegally doing bad things. You were told to get out. You're not getting out. Why do we have to have any understanding with that? They're being purposely staying here, purposely ignoring it. Once again, people, if we did that anywhere else, what the hell would happen to us? We'd be unalived in moments. They wouldn't give us cards to feed our family on.
Yep.
They wouldn't give us
I
housing.
took care of the problem. I went ahead and took care of the problem myself. That way the mods don't have to worry about it. I got rid of them, blocked them. See you later. Moving on. Okay. I think we need to shift gears real quick, Tammy, Jeff, because we're running real close to 90 minutes here. And I don't know if there's anything else that either one of you wanted to cover. But it's an open floor.
Jeff B, before you get to it, because I see his mic's off, so he might be doing something. I wanted to bring this up because this also ties into Minnesota, and this was a good thing that the president has done. And I have to admit, we were a step ahead of this, talking about this, because he is freezing more than $10 billion in federal child care and family assistance funds to California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. The Department of Health and Human Services said, citing what it called concerned about fraud and misuse. We've talked about over the days the billions and billions of dollars that these states have abused, misappropriated, lost, spun around back where they shouldn't be. And he's put it in there. Yesterday, the HHS said it notified the 5 states with all Democratic governors that its freeze applied to the Child Care and Development Fund worth $2.4 billion. The temporary assistance for needy families worth $7.35 billion, and the Social Services Block Grant worth $869 million. So they're all restricted pending further review, and I commend the president for doing that.
Yeah, we just were talking about that just last night or night before. I want to give Jeff an opportunity because I kind of went off. And so I'll say, I'm going to say this real quick. And then I want to get to Jeff because kind of just went on a tangent. So I'm going to say this. I apologize for the language. But that person really struck a chord with me big time. So apologize for dropping the F-bomb so many damn times. But they pissed me off because I think it's ridiculous how they point the finger at us and call us these names, and I don't know. It just struck me wrong. So again, to all the audience tonight, apologize for my language, but I will stand up for what's right. And I'm not going to let anybody bully me or push me around. This is my damn show. If you don't like it, get the hell out of here. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well said. I mean,
Yeah.
some people just, have to be shown how dumb they are. And even though everyone's entitled to their own opinion, some people just can't help themselves being stupid. Yeah, and my thoughts with this whole Minnesota thing is, when the mayor and the governor come out and said, we want ICE out of here. Okay, pull ICE out. And then, what I'd wish Trump would do? I wish Trump would order Treasury to stop federal funding of any monies going to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
then you'd see the turn.
Minnesota is a shit show. I feel sorry for people who live in Minnesota and Michigan. They're just total shit shows. And I feel sorry for the good people that live there that want a good life, and they want fair taxes, and they want fair laws, and they just want to live their life and not be bothered. And these two states are overrun by illegals and by these worthless governors and these worthless senators and congressmen who don't do a damn thing to benefit the people of Minnesota and Michigan. And I feel bad for you guys. I really do, and I don't blame them when they sell their house and pack up and move to Texas or somewhere, or Florida, somewhere else where it still feels like you live in America.
Yeah, in California, people are running all the major business. Elon left, everybody left. I mean, that thing, California, I've been there. It's a beautiful, beautiful state, and it is a shithole anymore. The highest taxes, the most homelessness, it goes on and on. We're well aware of that, and that's a shame. No representative should ever be allowed to drive a state into the ground like Gavin Newsom has done. And I think that there's got to be something a president can do. There is no reason that we should be complaining about it and nothing being done, or we vote on it and then the voting system's screwed up. So here we are all these years later in California, New York. Look what's happening in New York. It's not the American citizens voting legitimately for these people. It is all the corruption keeping them in and all the people making money off them. And I'm just sick of it all.
Well, I think we're kind of winding down here.
You think?
I can't even give my mind straight right now.
You can't.
I honestly want to go out to the street and meet this SOB and give him the what for. So I want to give Jeff first opportunity for final thought. I appreciate everybody tonight for joining us. Hit that like button, subscribe, share us out. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you to Patty J came in late tonight and wanted to let her know we did reach our goal. So as soon as those funds hit my account, we'll be ordering the silver for the giveaway. So there's just so much to cover tonight, and just really appreciate everybody being here. And it's just a wild world we live in. It's like what was that show? I used to watch it when I was a kid. The Wild Wild Kingdom. It should be the Wild Wild freaking West. I don't know. The Wild. It's just crazy the stuff that we go through.
Yeah, I don't know. And what about Mandami? You know what, Travis? That whole shit show is just getting worse and worse. We talked about him last night and the changes he's making of the transit that's supposed to be free. And what did he do? He jacked the prices up. So, New York and California are in a whole world of hurt, and they're just going to keep getting a world of hurt while these two ding-dongs are in there and in control.
Yeah, New York, you got what you asked for.
Yep, you got what you asked for, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get a whole lot worse in New York. We haven't even seen the worst yet.
We'll have to see if all these women on TikTok are still dancing to the Mom Dami song in about 6 months to a year.
Yeah, let's see. Yes, let's see that. That's a good point. Good little reminder. We'll have to touch base on that for sure. Because
Right.
I know the prayer to calls there many, many times a day, just like in Dearborn, Michigan. So I think there's other states, I'm not sure which have it too, but we know that Michigan and New York have it. It's like, here we go. It's just absurd. It's really absurd. So
Yeah.
Well, let's go with Jeff. What's your final thought? And thanks for joining us tonight on late notice, Jeff. I hope everybody has a great weekend. But what's your final thought tonight?
Yeah, so before I get in too much trouble, I'll say hello to Trainwreck Travis's mom. I know he said it earlier in the show.
Oh, I didn't see
Uh,
that.
yeah, so that way I don't get any hate texts. But yeah, and I can remember when I was a kid, my parents and my grandparents told me when a cop tells you to do something, you do it. And if you don't, in today's age where the youth and even some mid-range adults believe that the rules don't apply to them, at some point in time in this country, the pendulum's going to have to swing, where people are going to have to realize there is rule of law. And over the last several years, possibly decades, we've lost sight of that. Now, granted, there are corrupt cops, but they shouldn't outshine the good ones. And I think we are on the precipice of something major happening within the next few days. And for that, you guys have a good evening, and Mike will be working on your Tumblr tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate
All
Bye,
it.
right, guys.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Don't
Bye,
take off
Sarah.
yet. Don't take
All right.
off yet there, Travis. Because I got something special for Travis. So Travis has supported us for a long time. He's been on the show. He's had his own show. I believe his mom's in Texas. Travis, please shoot me a text. And I know he hates this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So this is what I want to send Travis's mom. I'm supporting Texas tonight. So it's the Longhorn. So Travis, if you will please shoot me a text with your mom's shipping address. I'm gonna order her a shirt, and I'm gonna send that to her as a gift. Because I think that's super cool that your mom's watching tonight. And so anyway, I want to do that for you. You've done a lot for me. You supported LWN for a long time. So I want to return the favor and send your mom this cool Texas Longhorn shirt. I think it's freaking awesome tonight. And so thanks for everything you're doing, Jeff. And I can't wait for that.
Well,
Yeah, and I'll make Travis laugh real quick. Travis, that is what we call in this business reverse grifting.
Reverse grifting.
love it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Shit. What a wild night, Tammy. It's been a good night. It's been a good week, actually. We've had a fun time, and I'm looking forward to the future. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you give us your final thought, and then I've got mine.
Good. I'm going to say right is right, wrong is wrong. If you're an adult, you know better. If you're a child 3 and under, you're still learning. Everybody needs to step up and be an adult and realize you have consequences for your actions. You have to stop thinking that all these people that come here want America to be great and live here and be great. They don't. They're burning our flag, raising their own flag, having their own religions and knocking our religions, calling white people to not have homes in New York. I mean, when did becoming white is a bad thing? We can't help how we're born. We can only help how we behave, how we have integrity, morals, and values and standards. And I think a lot of people have lost a lot of integrity, and it's all about me, 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 me. And we need to get back to the reality of, as a grown-ass adult, right is right, is wrong, and choose that decision accordingly.
Thank you, Tammy. Appreciate that. My final thought's going to be a little feistier than that. I'm going to say this. I have posted people's comments on screen that I don't agree with. And I'm okay with that. Like, you can come here and you can have a different opinion. You don't have to agree with everyone in chat. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Tammy. I think that's what makes this show super unique, is the fact that we can all come here with different ideas, different backgrounds, and the chat is very welcoming. We got some of the best mods in the business. They will allow you to put any comment in there. I will allow you to put any comment in there. But once you start saying some pretty rude ass shit, then you're going to piss me the hell off. And that's just who I am. I'm LW. So like me, love me, hate me, I don't care. I'm here to do one thing, and that's to make you think. That's to make you think outside the box. That's, I mean, because there's a lot of people in chat that all think one way, and I'm always trying to really rub elbows with them and say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you checked this out? Don't be blinded by just thinking one way. Like, I think, again, I think George Patton's comment that if everybody's thinking the same, then somebody's not thinking. Don't be that somebody who's not thinking. Always be thinking. And I love that. I love that about this show. That's what we've created. Tammy and I have been working our butts off on this. Jeff B's been working his butt off on this. Chris, the War Machine, has been working his butt off for this. Our producers have been working their butts off for this. All of our wonderful mods work their butts off for all of this. So come here and just be respectful. That's all we ask. Be a respectful person. You can have differences. You can hate Trump for all I give a shit. Dislike his policies. That's okay. Just be respectful. And I think as long as you can do that, we can all get along and have a little bit of fun, have some laughs, make some jokes. I make fun of Tammy all the time, and she tries to make fun of Jeff and I. She's just not as good at it as we are. So I have to continue to teach her on how to make fun of this. But yeah, it's been a wonderful night. And so Skip says, I need one of those t-shirts. I'll have to get you one too, Skip. So, and I know where you live, and I'm now your neighbor. So I'll have to, you just tell me which shirt you want, Skip, and I'll get you one.
And
so,
this is how, not to interrupt you, boss man, but
don't forget the wings.
I love it. Our listeners and viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you, because he does forget. It's important that he does it. I love it.
That's my final thought. I mean,
yeah.
One of our best mods of all time is Carlene. Carlene, Kathy H, Mimi, Chase, and Carlene, and even Joe. Joe Carol Dotz. We do not see eye to eye on a lot of things. You know, they have their thoughts and their beliefs and their perspectives, and I have mine, but we don't hate each other. We don't disrespect each other.
Right.
And I love that about our mods. They don't have to agree with me, and I don't tell them that they have to agree with me. They have their own thoughts, and I love that. And so bring that to the table. Bring your thoughts. That's why I ask questions, because I want to see your comments. They can be different than everyone else's. It's okay, man. I support that. I think that's how we all grow, is if we get uncomfortable with our perspectives. And my perspective can always change. My opinion can always change, as long as somebody can prove me wrong or show me something that changes my mind, because I'm very open-minded. But I'm a fighter too. I'm a Scorpion. So love it.
He's got a lot of issues being a Scorpion, but you know, you learn to live with it. It's part of life. You get stung by that stinger every now and again, but you build a tolerance to it eventually.
Okay. All right. Well, Tammy, as usual, it's been a wonderful night.
Yeah.
And I will play the wings as we leave out of here tonight, so we can get that for the shorts. But love y'all. I don't know when we'll be back, other than I know we'll be back Monday for sure. but we may be back before Monday. Who knows? So
Mhm.
God bless you. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.